Okay, today we're going to be making the Evie Everyday Bowler bag, and I must say, Alexis did it again. I'm really excited to be doing this Oro Rosa tutorial with you. If you already haven't bought this pattern, if you can do a couple things. Stop. You can keep watching this and just hit the thumbs up and like button. It does wonderful things for the channel. It puts me in the algorithm, and YouTube is like, whoa, people love Shinova. And two, if you haven't already, subscribe. Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you subscribed to my channel already? And if you haven't bought the pattern, there'll be a affiliate link that is in my description box, as well as it's pinned on top of the chat. And if you buy through that link, I get a small kickback, and that's like giving me a baby hug. If you already bought it and be like, man, Shinova, I bought it at midnight. I did not know you had an affiliate link, but I appreciate your tutorial. It helped me walk me through some of the more complex things, and I want to do something for you. I do have a Ko-fi link, and you can buy me a cup of coffee if you want. No pressure. All right, so we're going to be doing this pattern, and this pattern comes together easy. I'm going to give you tips and tricks and show you different parts and different ways you can put this bag together. It is a super fun pattern. It is a little lengthy, but it's worth it. Here we go. So make sure you do your prep work. Prep work is dream work, my friends. Please do your prep work. I even recommend you to do the packs. If you do the 6 packs, it will make your life a lot easier. So make sure you do everything in your cut charts. Pay attention to how everything is adhered and stabilized, especially with the zipper panels. I stress this to you, especially with the zipper panels. Cut out your zipper, tape, Decaville, all that fun stuff. And then on page 17, you're going to see that it is your bundle packs. Yes, 17. Most of this is prep work. Please do your prep work. All right, then we're going to get into it. You're going to retrieve your pack 1, and it's going to be your handles. They're the standard 4-inch. You're going to fold them into each other and have that 1/8 of an inch gap, and you're going to then fold it into itself and sew 1/8 of an inch down each side. Once you do that, you're going to have a strap that you sewed 1/8 of an inch on each side. So for the first handles, you could put your little I can't talk today, right? And it's the beginning. You could put your end caps, and if you don't have end caps and you want to, you don't have them and you don't want to spend money on it, I do recommend either doing edge paint on it, and or you can singe them and maybe do a fabric marker, or just do a nice clean finish and just trim up any excess like this, singe the ends, and just give it a go. There's nothing wrong with having just a nice clean handle. I like to do that all the time, and people love them, especially with this beautiful Black Mamba cork. I love this cork. Okay, so from here, you're going to fold over your handles, and you're going to measure it over by 1.5 inches. Okay? Once you fold that over, you're going to measure 3/4 of an inch through all the layers, and you're going to punch a hole, and you're going to make room for your rivets. When you're done with that, you're going to set these bad boys aside. Then we're going to take our strap, and you're going to do the similar thing. You're going to fold this over 1.5 inch, and we're going to measure 5/8 up and punch a rivet. Okay? Then we're going to grab our slider, and we're going to feed it into the other side. I always like Alexis because she always does things kind of the opposite way, and it makes your brain work. I like that it's not the conventional way of doing a strap, because again, it makes your brain work. I love when a designer just kind of makes you think and go, like, hey, I now know another way. So we're going to feed this through, up and over, and we're going to then take our swivel hook and feed this over the short end that's open. You can't feed it in this way, so we have to feed it in this way. Once we have that, we're going to thread this through again, under and back over. And I'm just going to give this a little bit more slack so that way you can see a little bit more what I'm working with. And we're going to fold this over again about 1.5 inches, and we're going to make a rivet hole that is 5/8 inch up. So we're going to go over to my punch mat thing. This is my cutting mat, but I just called it my punch mat. And we're going to punch a hole. Then we're going to get a rivet. Need a stem and a head. And you're going to set it. You could do that manually, or if you have a rivet press. And now you have a beautiful strap ready to go. So we're going to put this strap to the side because we're all done with this. And sometimes, if I could find a rubber band, because I use a lot of them, I just usually tie it up with a ribbon or a rubber band so it doesn't go all wild. So we're going to go back over here to the sewing table where the sewing machine is, and we're going to get to work. We're going to grab pack 2. So again, I can't stress this enough. If you do this where you have the pack numbers, it just makes your life a little bit easier. And you can just grab it and you're ready to go. Pack 2 has your main panel, and it has your connectors. It has your rivets as well. I'm going to put this aside. So I'm going to, with your rectangle rings or 2D rings, you're going to have your regular connectors, and then you're going to have an alternate D-ring. This is where these D-rings are going to be having, where you're going to connect your swivel hook to wear this as a crossbody. I can't emphasize this enough. Pay attention to the pattern, because the pattern places one rectangle and one D-ring or triangle ring right behind it in the same location. You're always going to be placing your 2 connectors on one connector onto the left. You're not going to be switching it, so that way when you have your bag, they will be in 2 different locations and it'll be easier for you. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to, because you did your prep work, you have your Decoville light here, you're going to take your double-sided tape off. You're going to then going to make sure that you have this nice and butt up next to each other, because you're not going to fold it, so it needs to just be as close as it possibly can. And what I like to do is I like to give it a nice little press with a seam roller. And my seam roller is extremely squeaky. And then we're going to top stitch the classic Oro Rosa way, 3/8 of an inch down each side. I'm just going to go over about 2 stitches. And the stitching could be based on what your stitch length is. On my machine, I'm at a 4. I rarely switch my stitch length. I am a lazy top stitcher. All right, so once we have that, we're going to make sure you want to pay attention and be cognizant to the area that has a Decaville light and the area that doesn't. Then you're going to measure up 5 inches and just make a mark on the back. You're going to fold over about 1.5 inches, which is right about here, and this is where you're going to put your hardware. So what I like to do is I like to put the hardware on. So you're going to put your rectangle ring on first, then your D-ring. And then I'm going to grab my double-sided tape, and then I'm going to place this on. And again, I'm just going to give it a nice little press. All right. So this has this spacing in between. You want to make sure you have your center marks really defined, and you want to go 5 inches in between and 1 1/4 of an inch below height. So on the bottom you want to be 1 1/4 inches up and 5 inches between. So what I did is I measured with my white chalk pen 1 1/4 inches up, and I just drew a line, and I can erase it with it after, but it's chalk, so it's not going to really hurt anything. If you do it with a silver pen, just go over with like a little wet wipe and just take it off. I always tell people to test their vinyl or their faux leather, faux suede, whatever you're working with the white leather wipe, your tandy leather or your silver marking pen, because sometimes they can last. Like I noticed faux suede likes to absorb it a little bit more, so I have a tendency of using chalk a little bit more often than not. So I'm going to line up the 2.5 inch mark, and then I'm going to place this right above the 1 1/4. And I'm just going to get this as close as possible. And then we're going to measure 1 inch across. And we're going to top stitch, going back stitching at the beginning and the end, 1/8 of an inch across. So we're going to start at the bottom. And I'm just like I'm back stitching about two stitches. And take your time. Okay, and then we're going to put a rivet right here. So we're going to grab this stem and the head, and if it's not easy obtainable for your punch, I usually use a mallet and a punching tool. Okay, let's go back over to the sewing table. So, let's see. Okay, so we're at the sewing table. We punched our holes. We are all done with this for right now, and we're going to then grab pack 3. All right, so for pack 3, we have our pockets and we have a magnet. I don't have a regular matte black magnet, so I'm going to be doing a riveted one, but I'm going to walk you through how to do a regular magnet. I'm going to show you, like, emulate it too, but I'm going to be actually punching a hole through mine. So if you have a riveted one, then I can show you how to do that one as well. So we're going to first take our lining piece and match it up with our pocket exterior trim. I'm going to get a couple of clips so there's no shifting. Okay, and we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. I know it feels weird because you're like, why are we working with the lining first? But it all comes into play. It all works out. I promise you. All right. And make sure you backstitch in the beginning and the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to finger press or roll the seam away from the top, because we're going to top stitch on the lining. But first, just press this with your fingers, and then we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. Again, because this is a bound bag, you can always backstitch, except when your threads get all weird, like mine's just did. That's cool. Let me get of course, this is when my machine wants to get weird threads and all that stuff, but it's cool. I'm going to keep it in because it's the most realist thing. We all go through this, and it's a part of sewing. All right, so we're going to finger press the seam allowance going towards the inside lining. We're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, trim those threads or tails, and then you're going to come in and just kind of at an angle trim any excess bulk. And you're going to see that's kind of a theme throughout this bag. Then we're going to put the exterior pieces together with the trim. Just line everything up. And we're going to do that at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch in the beginning and the end. Okay, you're going to want to put some double-sided tape right on the seam allowance. See the exterior is right here, so on the trim part where you sewn the exterior. And if it's not coming out great, I always suggest, again, pressing it in. Yeah, that was my tool. All right, and you're going to press that in, and we're going to fold over what you're doing is you're pressing over that seam allowance to become a kind of an edge, so you can have a nice crisp edge. You'll see it like kind of sandwiched in. All right, so you're going to, one, top stitch in two different locations. You're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away on the bottom seam, and then 1/8 of an inch away on the top. So you just want to really roll that seam so it could be as even as possible. And you can just clip as you do it. Okay, so I'm going to top stitch the bottom one first. And when you have it lined up on your sewing machine, you might see a number like 3/8 of an inch. Just follow that 3/8 of an inch all the way down, and you'll have like a clear, concise stitching. Okay. And then we're going to do 1/8 of an inch on the top. Okay. And we have, it's so pretty. It's a nice trim, and you have a nice opening. So we're going to retrieve our magnetic snap. I have mine's right here, and we're going to find the center within the area in the middle. So what I did is I like to find the center and kind of crease it, so when I open it up I can see there's a line right here. You can just and it could be harder with some fabrics than others. And you're going to, if you're doing this with a regular magnet, you're going to need to do your washer, and you're going to do your Mel magnet here, and then you would do what you normally do. You get your Decaville light, put your fray check, and put your Mel magnet in, and we will put it in. But if you're doing a rivet like me, we're going to go over here and I'm going to show you how I install this real quick. You can still see that there's a mark right here from where I used my... Now I'm going to have my heads right here. Separate this. So I had put a mark right here where I want the hole to be. I'm going to punch a hole. And I'm going to do the same thing you would do with a regular magnet. I'm going to use fray check, and I guess apparently abundance of it. And I will do it on the outside as well. And I have some Decaville. And I'm going to swap out my dies to accommodate the Mel rivet setter. I'm going to thread it. Oops, I accidentally put the female. I mean, you could do reverse. It just looks, I guess, more appealing with the mel. And you can get the indentation into the bag on the other one. And I'm just going to spread it this nice and even, and then we're going to head back and we're going to work on getting the indentation. So for me, what I like to do is I like to, now this is the Melzen, I'm just going to, for me, the best way I thought about getting the most cleanest magnet look is basting the lining and the exterior together. So if I had any excess lining like you see here, I could trim it. With Oro Rosa patterns, I always know that it's key to have like finding your center. So having any excess cannot be your friend, and that can have something not bound properly. So I'm going to find my centers. I'm just going to clip it. Well, I thought I clipped it. When you clip to the exterior and the interior didn't clip, it's super annoying sometimes. You're like, why aren't you clipping? Clip it and then just, I like to clip it on the sides real quick just to make sure everything is aligned. And then I'm going to press the mel really good, and then there's a little indentation, and I'm going to just draw it with a silver mark. So you just press with all your little thumb power. And then if you have a mel, if you were doing it with a regular magnet, you would either draw it out and then put your female part. If you're doing it like me with a rivet, it's an awkward place to do this. So I'm just going to take a little punching tool. And you can still put a little bit of fray check because there is material in the back. And I'm just going to change out the bottom die. And we have the female. Okay. So now we're going to place this together. And baste it so it's one unit. Okay, once it's spaced as one unit, you want to make sure that you've cut any little of those hanging bits that are hanging over, trim the excess threads. And you have your exterior all done on the outside. So now we are going to be working on the interior lining. So we're going to need to get pack 4. See, working with the packs, it just makes your life a little bit easier. So we're gonna singe. I try to singe all my threads before, all my zippers before I start working on them, just because they can get frazzled. So we're going to mark our centers. I'm going to just do it about 1/4 of an inch with the silver marking tool, because every time I use the I love using my sew line, but it disappears in like 5 minutes, and then I'm like, oh no. All right, so we're going to get our zipper pocket lining, and I'm just going to mark the center. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the wrong side of the zipper tape touching the right side of the zipper lining. Okay, pay attention to figure 45. And you're going to base this on at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, then you're going to get the main lining. You're going to put right sides up on the straight part. You want the right side of the zipper tape to touch the right sides of the zipper, the right sides of the zipper tape to touch the right sides of the main lining, so the curved part is on the bottom. And you're going to sew this together at 3/8 of an inch. Alright, so this part's pretty interesting. You can do the same tip that Alexis gave you in the exterior part. We're going to take the seam allowance from the 3/8 of an inch and fold it over and create the same kind of trim here. We've done it several times. If you've sewn with me with her patterns, you've seen this. It's a little bit easier when you're working with cottons or even water resistant canvas or waterproof canvas. But if you have a hard time, you can definitely put double-sided tape here and then have it adhere here and just flip this part over, and it will be easier for you. But it is, to me, a little bit, the bulk just sits differently. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sew at 1/8 of an inch and 3/8 of an inch. So we sewed what we did. So I'll show you one more time. Is we sewed them together like this. You see the wrong side of the zipper lining, and you can see the wrong side of the main zipper pocket. You're just, when you flip them right sides out, you're just taking this and you're folding it over the seam onto the zipper. So you're going to see the right side of the zipper lining and the wrong side of the main zipper. And again, for me, when I'm sewing the 1/8 of an inch, I can see the 3/8 of an inch, and I'm just following that line, and I'm back stitching because again, nothing gets trimmed. And then I'm going to hit 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to move this out of the way, and we're going to take this and we're going to center this. If you didn't find your centers before, just, you can quickly do it. You have enough wiggle room. And you're going to base this on with 1/8 of an inch. So you want, again, the right sides of the lining to touch the wrong sides of the zipper tape. And you're just going to move all this bulk out of the way. It feels like a puzzle, but when you see it, when you have it in hand, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is familiar. All right, so you can kind of see the inside of your lining pocket. And then we're going to take our pocket and we're going to take the right sides and put it to the right sides of the zipper. And you probably can guess what we're going to do next. We're going to sew this bad boy at 3/8 of an inch, right sides together. So you could just turn it around. Back stitch at the beginning and end. Trim those threads. Okay, so we're gonna do what you guys hate probably the most, or some might be like me and love it. We're gonna separate the zipper teeth. So when we separate the zipper teeth, we want to make sure that the lining is nice and taut down, and we're going to top stitch. We're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. The reason why I'm emphasizing that this goes down, because there is a difference in size and the weight, it can easily pucker up. So if you're doing cotton or even a water resistant canvas or whatever, you might want to hit this with the iron just so it can stay in place. And we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. And when you're top stitching at 1/8 of an inch, your zipper teeth should be hitting that 3/8 of an inch mark. All right. So we're going to now find my zipper. Okay, there we go. We're going to zip this back in place. And take your time with this. Use your thingamajig, zipper jig, whatever you have to. Your thingamabobber, which is a fork. I got plenty. I need to stop watching Little Mermaid. And then we're going to oh yeah, that was not even. Come on, Nova. Sometimes you think it's even, and then you're like, oop, it's not. So you want to now sew this up. So you're going to want to do 3/8 of an inch on both sides. I implore you, I really implore you, do not sew onto the zipper tape. Just 3/8 on each side. And then we're going to put the zipper back on. Do not sew on the zipper tape. I repeat, back stitch before and after. I know it feels like, oh, I can get really close. Nothing's going to come out of there unless, again, I always have that infamous Carrie Bradshaw thing. If you have watched Sex and the City, then you remember the Carrie in Paris when she lost her necklace and it was in the lining of her purse. Unless that scenario is going to happen to you, which I truly doubt. But if it does, let me know. Let me know down below if that's happened to you. I've lost earrings and they were in the lining, but I didn't have that that moment. So we're going to trim this down to 1/8 of an inch. And then you're just going to trim into it, not... I found earrings, but it was like too late because I think I got rid of them. One or something. I don't know. It was something silly. But yeah, I genuinely don't put jewelry inside my bags. So we're going to... I got like fuzzy fabric. All right, so going to put my zipper on, and then we're going to just line this up nice and neat. We're going to put our little wings on. So you have to just line your wings to the tip to the bottom and see, make sure that they measure out good. And when they do, flip them into place. And you could definitely put like a, I'm using like a ginormous clip there. You could definitely put like a label or a tag in there. It will be super cute. You could put a label on the top here. There's so much room for possibilities. You could put your name tag in here. There's room to definitely put your name tag somewhere around here as well. Back stitching at the beginning and the end. I'm going to do this on this side. All right, so from here, we're going to trim the excess exterior wings, not the pocket or anything, just the wing part. And we're going to trim it down to 1/8 of an inch. Okay, we're going to do that on this side as well. If you have duckbill scissors, this is a good place to use them. I know a lot of my friends who are embroiderers, they use them a lot. And if you are a person that embroiders and you're like, hey, I can use these scissors somewhere else, this is a place. We're going to pull this nice and taut, and we're going to top stitch onto the wings at 1/8 of an inch. And you could back stitch because again, we're binding. Do that on the other side as well. Okay, and what we're going to do next is we're going to remove some of the bulk. We're going to go inside and just kind of snip at, not into the stitches, but just kind of the excess bulk, so that way it can help when we're binding, just removing some of it. Then we're going to grab our exterior pieces and we're going to put them together. Okay, and we're going to baste them together, all together at 1/8 of an inch. Alright, so what you want to do here is, again, we're going to go around, and any of the lining that exceeds the exterior, we're going to just snip off. And it happens. You could be sewing exactly a 3/8 of an inch, or it could be that something just cut a little funny. I'd rather have a little excess than have, oh no, it's like 1/4 of an inch too short, and then you're having to use your nifty quilting skills and do some patchwork. So it's breezy. It's cool. All right, so we're going to snip that. All right, so we have one, and then you have one side down, and then make sure you just do your second. So we have 2 down, and see how they're both to the left. So when they're complete, when we have the bag, we'll have them on opposite sides. All right. So now we're going to get pocket pack number 5. All right. So for number 5, we're going to, you're going to need to draw you need to measure 1 inch from each long edge, and then draw from one larger edge, and then draw a 1/2 inch up. That is 7 inches. Okay. And then we're going to lay this out in front of us, and we're going to measure we need to measure 5 1/4 of an inch. Where is my ruler? And you need to put some double-sided tape on the other side. I'm going to just do a slight bend to this, just so I can make sure I find my center. I hope that I actually used a bigger ruler. 5 1/4 of an inch. And 1 1/4 of an inch. The grand thing about sewing with a sewing industrial is that the sewing machine space is like none. It's like nothing. So you're just going to doing double-sided tape because you want to you could put pins if you're doing cotton like me, but if you're not doing cotton, then it'd be a little bit more daunting. Okay. And you can just also find, if you make marks for your center, then it could be a little bit easier. I do have my center marks like up and down here. So you're going to then make your marks again, which I did already. You're going to be making a 7-inch box. I have my center marks right here, and we're going to be sewing around this box. If you're using cotton, I do suggest you to do a smaller stitch length. If you're doing waterproof canvas, it's your discretion. Water resistant canvas and waterproof canvas, sometimes I do. It depends on what machine I am. I'll do a 4 or 3.5. If I'm doing it on top of vinyl, of course I'll do a 4 or 4.5. But then I reduce my stitches when I do the tighter ends of the box, so I can get a nice sharp corner. I can't do the double lines without going into the box. I'm not skilled. I feel like it's important to know your strengths and your weakness. That's a weakness I have. I feel like it's like the Houdini, and I just don't have that as a skill. And I came to terms with it, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I'm not, but as you can see, I have my box. We are going to cut into it. Okay, let's see. Get as close into the V as you possibly can without cutting into your stitches. Right? So then I'm going to finger press this. I did not put the iron on, but usually I would use heat. I think when you do a bag where you have to pull the lining through, it looks better when you press it. That's just my personal opinion. Don't come for me. And there goes my other ruler. Since I don't have my heat on, I'm just going to do it in an oldie but goodie way. I would do this with 1/4 of an inch tape, but apparently that's like MIA right now, so I usually just put some 1/4 of an inch double-sided tape right by not where the stitch line is, where you know I'm going to stitch, but just near towards the edge of the where this is, just to hold it in place so that way I can get a nice clean pocket. All right, so now we're going to grab our divider. I'm going to send our divider, and then we're going to find our centers. Okay, and we're going to lay one side of the divider on here, and we're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that for the second divider. And I'm back stitching. Okay. Then I'm going to get my zipper pull. And I'm going to get some double-sided tape. Okay, I'm going to run this double-sided tape down the side. Okay, and I'm going to put the zipper pull on. It would help if you would go on straight zipper. Yeah, I talk to the zipper pull sometimes. I think it's a healthy relationship. All right. And I'm going to remove the double-sided tape. And I'm going to place this on. Just make sure this lays nice and good and it covers up any previous rows of stitching, and the zipper is nice and clean. All right, and then we're going to go around this, have long tails because we're going to pull the threads to the back. And 1/8 of an inch. If you have a awkwardly big zipper pull like me, just remember to pull it out of the way. Okay. And just try to land in that hole that you started. Long tails, and then let's pull these threads. just trim. Okay. Okay, we're on page 38. And you could use a little bit of fray check right there. And then we're going to maneuver this out of the way. And we're going to close the pocket, sewing it with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Make sure you back stitch the beginning and the end. And it closes all the way. It just gets awkward. And then just trim it down to 1/8 of an inch. This black fabric, man, doesn't shred. But it was the look that I was going for, so I can't complain, right? In the end, I'm going to love it. So we're going to do a couple things. We're going to start sewing this. We're going to need to make some measurements, though. We're going to leave a 5/8 of an inch opening. So just going to clip this here at the bottom because I want the most accurate so we want a 5/8 of an inch opening, so I'm going to draw my line at 5/8 of an inch on this side and this side. Just draw that line, and then we are going to then from the 5/8 sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance until this curve ends. So we're just going to be sewing until like the curve ends. So it's easier to sew for one side than the other, so you can just draw that 5/8 of an inch on the other side and it becomes easier for you to do. So we're going to bring this to the sewing machine. You could put a couple clips in if you need, whatever's easier for you. So we're going to start right where that 5/8 of an inch line is and start sewing at a 1/2 inch. All right. And I'm just going to draw that 5/8 of an inch on the other side so I'm not like getting all like flabbergasted, like how am I going to do this from the other side? So just a naturally back stitch. All right. So we're going to cut into where that 5/8 of an inch, and then we're going to trim. Right. So then we're going to grab those little bitty pieces. I always, like last time I cut them out and I was like, where did I put them? We're going to put some double-sided tape. Again, I would be using 1/4 of an inch, but again, I have no idea where my 1/4 of an inch is. We're going to fold them onto it, fold long sides onto itself. And you just could find your draw your center marks and then we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch down each side. Right. So you're going to fold this in half. And we're going to put this in. This part's interesting, okay? You're gonna fold this in half and then you're kind of feed this in. Feed this in and then sew 3/8 of an inch. It's awkward, but when it comes out, you're gonna be like, oh, this all makes sense. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning and the end. So fold this halves, put the closed end inside. And it's kind of a snug fit depending on your materials. And raw edges to raw edges. Ooh. That black, man, it shreds. You're going to sew it together at 3/8 of an inch. And then we're going to turn it right sides out. And like I said, depending on your materials, this could be a smooth process or a, what did I get myself into process. And even though I did mine with cotton and canvas, it's I could have definitely put this on like a heat press or an iron first just to get it more like friendly. You can see like the little, I don't want to say arm, but the little tab is poking out. Okay, there's the other little tab. Give it a nice little tug. You just round out that area and yeah, you got your center divider. Isn't that cute? So we're gonna put that to the side. Now we're gonna grab pack 6, our final pack. I lost my voice for a second. I don't have bag feet, but I'm gonna walk you through the process. You need 4 purse feet, and what you need to do is you need to measure 1 1/4 inch down, and you need to measure 3 inches in. So if you're like me and you're like, oh my god, my math ain't mathing, what I like to do is I would just draw in from the long edges 1 1/4 inches in, and just do like hatch marks. It makes your life a whole lot easier, and then you're not second guessing yourself. And then I would go in individually and do 3 inches from each of the short ends, and you could just see the hatch marks, and X marks the spot, and you just punch your feet in, put them in how you normally do, and call it a day. But this is also a good lesson. If you don't have everything for a bag, you don't have to have purse feet, especially like if you have cork or vinyl. It's easy to wipe up, and it's easy breezy, beautiful cork girl. And then you can put your duct tape or electrical tape on the bottom, and you're good to go. So that's how you would do the bottom. Then for this part, you would need to grab your bottom divider and your 2 bottom linings, and we would need to find our centers. So I'm gonna grab a clip and just clip that real quick. Get our 2 bottom marks. This part is really trust the process. I'm going to give you tips along the way, but just trust the process, and you're going to be like, oh my god, this is so cool. And I just learned a whole bunch of stuff, and it's really, really cool. So we're going to, first I'm going to sew this together. I don't like any openings to be open, because if something shifts and something's open, I'm like, oh, any accidents that can happen will happen with me. I noticed that. So I'm going to close this. Okay. Then I'm going to match up my center marks. And do that here too, match up the center. And then I'm going to clip together everything. Had a lot of clips, but It's cool. All right, so we're going to sew this together at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and the end. All right, then we're going to trim this whole seam down to 1/8 of an inch. Okay. So we have our center divider. And dropping stuff again. From our pack 6, we need to get our triangle pieces. You need to put wrong sides together and you need to top stitch all the way around at 1/8 of an inch. And you're like, oh, there's raw edges. Trust the process on this. Then you need to measure down at 1/4 of an inch and punch a hole. And if you're like me, using cotton wovens or canvas, fray check. And I use some fray check on both of those. Okay. We're going to now grab our long zipper. We are zipper pulls. And we're about to have some fun. All right. So what I do for every time I do a zipper is I just like to singe. All right. So you need to put on your zipper pull. You're like, wait, no, Shnova, no. Yes. Do it. Okay. We're on page 43. We're going to put on our zipper pulls. And again, however you put your zipper pulls on, go for it. I can't do it through the camera. Trust me, if I could, I would. I weirdly like doing it. I don't know why. They kind of remind me of Connects or Legos, I think. And then sometimes I think it makes my brain stop for a while and just I could focus on something. Does that make sense? So we have that. We're going to get our triangle pieces, and this part, get some clips. Yeah, I'm going to help you out. We're going to put our zipper guards on. So the way you put your zipper guards on, the way I found best is I like to put a big clip on the bottom, and I start to work on one side. I think with a zipper guard, trying to put clips on one side and then sew the other side is where a lot of people make mistakes, because the zipper guard's a triangle and you can easily get all discombobulated thinking that you're doing it even, and you're not. So if you have a clip anchoring you, you know that you're even at all times. So you're going to clip both sides of the zipper guard down to the wrong side of your zipper. Okay? Once you have both sides clipped, take the big clip off. You're going to baste on each side at 1/8 of an inch the zipper guard down. Right? So my biggest tip is put a bigger clip or just a few clips on the bottom so that you can do this. Ask me how I know, because when I was testing it, I thought I could take the wrong side and I could just start clipping like this, and then somehow when you start clipping it at an angle, you somehow mess up. So if you clip from the very beginning by putting a bigger clip dead in the center, you don't mess up. That is the biggest way to do it. Your raw edges are going to be concealed and binding, so you're going to be okay. So I know you're like, I want to do one side first. I'm telling you, the easiest way to do this is just to clip both sides, and it gets you comfortable with the zipper guard anyways. And fold in and just make sure that zipper tape is raw edges are with raw edges, and you will be fine. So we're going to do this on both sides again. And just trust the process. I won't lead you wrong, I promise. All right, we're going to do it again. We're going to base this down 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to move this bigger one. Okay. So we have both of it all tacked down. Now we're going to start assembling the lining. The zipper panels. So we have two parts of the zipper panels, the exterior and the interior. And this is a trust the process. So we're going to get the zipper exterior and the interior, and we're going to put them together. We're going to do the exterior first, because you need to make sure that you're putting the side that has the Decaville light with this. So you want the side that has the Decaville light to be the side that you're sewing onto your zipper tape. Because if you don't, it's all for naught. Sorry. I'm sorry, we're going to sew the lining on at 1/8 of an inch. I'm sorry. So sew the lining onto the wrong side of the zipper tape. At 1/8 of an inch. Follow instructions, Shinova. Alright, so I'm going to base this on at 1/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to get the exterior. I know it's going to feel like a lot that you're doing with the zipper panel, but it all comes together pretty easy. You just have to be patient, and it's going to be easy. More easier than you think. I don't want to say easy. It's going to be less complicated than you think. And I ran out of bobbin. Well, I mean, it came on where I was basting, so I mean, I guess that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing-ish. I'm using like Tex 90, so don't be surprised I have to change my bobbin one more time while we're binding. So. Right. Right, so again, we want to have this gusset to be sewn on. We want the gusset to be sewn on with the Decaville towards the zipper panel. Remove these. We're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. And just move the gusset bulk just out of the way. There's going to be some because you're sewing on it, but you just don't want to collapse over it. And then move your zippers. Okay. So this gets folded. If you notice, the lining is shorter than the exterior. And there's a reason, because that beautiful fold that you see in the opening is based on what we're going to be doing next. So we're going to be folding this over. You're going to feel where you put the deck of the light, folding this over and then under. And this is going to line up. If you can see, it's already kind of doing that. It's going to fold under and over, and then it's going to do it. It's kind of like origami. So as you can see, here's the lining, and it doesn't fit. But when we fold this part under, it becomes this beautiful unit. But first, we got to get it there. So we're going to, the first thing we're going to do is take some double-sided tape and run it underneath the first line of Decaville. And this is why prepping, you heard me in the beginning, I'm like, it's so important. You're like, Shinova, stop saying it. But I'm like, literally, it's so important. So we're going to fold over. And you want it to fold over nicely. And that beautiful roller that fell earlier, I'm going to retrieve, and I'm going to give it a gentle press. Not so gentle. I'm going to put some pressure on it. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry. And I'm just making sure it's folding. So when you lay it flat on itself, it should line up with the lining. You can tug it, give it a little tug. It should line up. So this is my tip to you, because you're going to top stitch this and you don't want it to be shorter. So this is what I did. I'm going to defer you a little bit different from what it is on here. I used a second piece of double-sided tape. Hear me out. Shh, don't tell anybody. All right. I put another piece of double-sided tape about 1/4 of an inch away from where I'm going to top stitch, so it won't get all gummy. There's not exact science to this, but this is what helped me, because I was like, you could do, I'm going to give you a couple different methods if you don't want to do double-sided tape. I'm going to show you another method on the other side, or tell you about another method. So I did this. I clipped this. I clipped my lining and my exterior together. Because I wanted them to make sure that they were exact. I gave it a nice little tug away from the zipper, and I pressed. Tug away from the zipper, and I pressed. And you could do a high, if you have 1/4 of an inch instead of 1/8, like it'll work better. Tug away from the zipper and press. And this is how I get it exactly to match my lining without any, like, oh my gosh, it's not matching or trimming or anything. Now I could take this away, the clips away, and I could top stitch this with confidence without the lining being in the way. I know it's going to be the exact measurement. Back stitch 1/8 of an inch. All right. So now I'm gonna line this back up so I can top stitch the 1/8 away from the zipper panel. Get close to the birds, get close. I have to move them. Okay, so we're done. Now, the other way I would have done it, and I think it, to me makes sense, if you are doing matchy thread, and even if you're not doing matchy thread, if you don't care that your top stitch will show through your lining, then clip it together and just top stitch it all through your lining. Nobody's going to see it. If anything, it's going to be a really cute character, and it's just going to hold that lining nice and taut and holding the interfacing of the lining anyways, just in case, let's say, God forbid, that the Shape Flex 101 or whatever, the glue starts to adhere here from the cotton or whatever, it's going to hold it up. It's like, that's just my personal opinion. But, yeah, so let's do this again on the other side so you can see. Clip it good. Okay, let's base this on at 1/8 of an inch. whatever Decaville goes to the correct side of the zipper. Three-eighths of an inch. Okay, we're getting to the zipper pull, so just needle down. I just dropped some more stuff. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing as before. A little double-sided tape on the lower piece of Decaville Light. We're going to fold that onto itself to create a crease. So like I said, if you were doing the same color or whatever, you can literally just fold it, clip it, and then top stitch it and just go through the lining. And it can make your life super easy. I'm going to use some double-sided tape and my squeaky little low. Just put a couple clips here. And just match that lining. And before you get shocked, before we put the bottom gusset and everything on, the bottom gusset is a little bit bigger than the zipper panel. So just be prepared for that. Don't be like, oh my God, I sewed it wrong. You did it. You didn't. I promise you. Okay. somebody's singing upstairs. Let's see. Moving that lining out of the way. All right. Yeah, fair warning. This panel is very long, so yeah, have a clear space. Do as I say, not as I do. And then I'm going to top stitch the 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to pull that lining nice and taut, and I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch near the zipper panel. Then we're going to get down to constructing this. I think, hold on. Okay, that was on me. Hold on. I need to re-top stitch that part. All right. All right, so you top stitched everything. All right. And we're almost there, I promise you guys. So we have our seam allowance, we've done everything. Now it's time to get the bottom and the top. So we're going to get the bottom and we're going to do right sides together. And it's going to feel weird, but it's going to be okay, I promise. We're going to do this very similar, right sides together. Just make sure you center everything. We're going to gather some clips. It's going to be a little bit wider. It's going to be okay. I'm going to get some clips and I'm going to clip it down. It might be a tad wider, like it'll be fine. You'll see. It all works out. She always has like her bottom gusset just a tad wider, and I think it gives it that shape that we all want. So just put right sides together, right sides of the lining to the right sides of the lining piece. Okay, and then right sides of the bottom gusset to the right sides of the zipper gusset. And then we're going to sew this together at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and the end. I always like to back stitch right over the zipper, where the zipper teeth are, just for good measure. Okay. And then you're going to trim the bottom exterior layer to just 1/8 of an inch. Not any other layer, just the bottom. Okay. And then you're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. It's like any other gusset we've ever done. It's just, it seems weird because there's a divider pocket there. Okay. And we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to match exterior. There's a little bit of overhang. Match exterior. Thank goodness this is made with floppy material. And interior. Just get squishy with it. Just keep in mind you have to just keep telling yourself, oh, it's going to be a little bit bigger, and you're going to be fine with that. Again, I have a little bit of excess Shape Flex 101 sticking out. And then sandwich my exterior. And we're going to it looks weird, but it's going to be fine. We're going to sandwich that together. Actually, I'm going to base this one on first. It's just so awkward. It's so twisty too. So I'm going to base this onto the exterior. No. I'm going to sew this on at 3/8 of an inch to the exterior. Because I have to trim it down anyways. Then I'm going to get all twisty with the interior. It's just a very awkward position. Because of the divider. Now I'm going to sew that together. I had it squished like a pretzel. Twist it like a pretzel. Come on, Shirley. Use your words. Okay, so 3/8 of an inch. Okay. All right. 3/8 of an inch. Then we're going to trim the exterior down to 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to untwist this and top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. All right. So we're going to trim in the inside just to reduce some of the bulk. Just at an angle. Make sure you just don't hit any of your stitches. And we're literally at the finish line. So we're going to then base around this to make sure it's become one unit. You guys did a really good job. So I'm going to just base the zipper gusset so it's one unit now. Going to the bottom panel. Oops, it helps if I stay on the fabric. Just trimming on any furries, any excess like S shape flex, because sometimes that likes to hang out like right here. You just don't want that to account for your seam allowance when it's not. And I'm going to do it on the other side now, moving this out of the way. Make sure like your panels are not like nice and taut and they're not like buckling inwards. Sorry, my puppies are in a mood, especially Loki. Okay. All right. So we're going to match. I'm going to match bottom gusset, the bottom gusset seams at the top, and get centers. Okay, do the same thing on this side, the bottom. All right. So we're going to start doing the magic of making this into our final steps of the bag. So finding your centers, of course, is the most imperative thing, and then we go from there. If you're new to my channel, you'll know I'm not a stapler. I am afraid of staples. So I am an over clipper. I also don't like removing staples. I think that, again, I'm the person that doesn't like to change my I don't like to change my stitch length, so that should speak vastly about me not wanting to remove staples. Shout out to the people that love doing it. And I'm pretty sure if you do want to do it, do staples, if you ask someone in the comments, they can recommend staples. I know a lot of people like the Tim Holtz ones. There's a lot of information out there about cool staples. That's the beauty of our environment. There's no wrong or right way of doing anything. It's just following your own intuition. And like always, Alexis patterns fit like chef's kiss. They're just absolutely perfect. She's like the best gusset maker in the West, like always. So we're going to go around this once, about a scant 1/4 inch, and then we're going to start binding. I want to like have a binding theme song, like binding or something. nice medium-sized bag. It's not too big and it's definitely not too small. It's bigger than the Mini E, but smaller than the Erica Bowler. All right. I'm going to fold in half of my 2-inch binding on halfway into itself. I'm going to bring it to the top because no one looks in the top side of your bag, but they do look in the bottom of it, which I feel like is secretly judging, but whatever. I'm going to go around just a little. That's the zipper. Okay. Under a scant 3/8 of an inch. Not quite 3/8 of an inch, but I'm using bias binding, so I'm going to be able to stretch it. You can use, I have friends that do elastic, I have friends that do canvas, waterproof canvas. Do whatever makes you feel good, you know? Hey, I found out that I have friends that do like an industrial zigzag stitch. So, I mean, hey, whatever you like, do it. Okay, trim that tail. Bring this binding over. Clip Okay. Cover that previous line of stitching. Okay, we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. We're going to kind of feed it in the machine like at a 3/4 of an inch angle just to make sure that it's all tacked down. And I'm going to use my stiletto to help me keep everything intact. Okay. All right, and I'm going to do the other side and we'll be right back. Okay, so our bag is all done. We have it all bound. Let's see if I can get it in focus. Let's just get a little height. All right, so we need to birth it. Before we birth it, I'm gonna go here and punch my holes. If you look on figure 231 on page 53, we're gonna punch holes. I think it's a little bit easier to do this while it's unbirthed. So I'm gonna go ahead and pre-punch my holes. Make sure you don't get into that stitches. Okay, and unzip your bag. And we're going to birth it. Take your time. I had one person who was like, you always say take your time and then you're just like manhandling your bag. You're right. But in all fairness, I birth at least one bag a day, so really, really press those seams with, like, I can't stress this enough. I love getting my seam roller and just rolling over those seams. Just press them out. Taking that extra time really does show in your bag. Give it a gentle massage. See, because you could leave it like that and it's not all cute. Just push it out. Take all the excitement that you're finished. Woo. All right. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to rivet the middle connector. So you're going to take the hole that we already pre-punched into the pre-punched zipper guard, and you're going to set it. You're going to have to, like, finesse your bag again, I promise you, because it's going to get, you know, a little squishy. But isn't this the cutest bag? It has so many pockets. You have 3 zipper pockets in the inside. You have like 2 compartments, 2 slip pockets. Like, it has so many things. This one's a little awkward. It's like, no, we don't want to go into the rivet. Okay. And see how, like, it sits, like, so nice. Just so nice. And then just that perfect classic bowler bag shape. You have that nice detail of that faux, like, sorry, I'm rolling out this again because it's you just got to give it a little finesse. You have that faux detail where it looks like you have a layer on top of another layer of to give it that faux trim, which I just absolutely adore. And then now we're going to put our handles on, and then we're all done. And like I said, you can definitely add extra hardware, or if you edge paint these, you can do it ahead of time so they're ready to go. It's nice to do all the pre-work so that way when you're at this step, you can be like, oh, I can get up from my sewing machine and I can just set things and go. Let's do this other side. It's so pretty. It would help if I don't put a stem with a stem. Get a cap. And we are done. Look at what you did. Okay, so we have a beautiful crossbody. We have 2 exterior magnetic slip pockets, which are good for so many things. It's a big bag. Look, you could just put your cell phone and go. When you open it up in the inside, it's a wide opening. You have a center divider pocket, 2 slip pockets, 3 zipper pockets, and you have 2 huge compartments. This bag is like the perfect bag for everyone, and this could be your definite summer bag. Grab your stuff and go. You learn so many different skill sets, and this bag is gonna like wow anyone that you show it to. No one's gonna believe you made it. And if that doesn't make you want to make this bag, I don't know what will. It's just the perfect bowler bag. I don't think there is a better bowler bag I've ever made. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you don't have a pattern, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the comments. If you already have the pattern, you're like, Shova, you showed me so many skills. The Ko-fi information is also in the description and pinned to the comments. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment for your girl down below. It helps the channel, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.